We are here today for the CEF eSignature TLSO Workshop. The purpose of this meeting is to present you the new TL Manager that has been released very recently. We will start today by introducing some instructions for this webinar. This is an interactive session, so at the end of the presentation, there will be time for your questions. Also, please remain muted during the session and keep your cameras off. The last point that I would like to mention is that the session will be recorded just for you to be aware of it. And now let me present you the speakers of today's workshop, Mr. Apostolos Apladas, who is the eSignature product owner, and Xavier Schul, who is eSignature consultant. Before we present you today's agenda, I would like to invite Mr. Apladas to say a few words, and afterwards, Mr. Schul will start the presentation. So, Mr. Apladas.
Thank you very much, Sofia. Good morning, everybody, and welcome here. Today, personally, I find it a great day because we managed to invite you in something that, in our opinion, is a new way of working between the member states, between the European Commission and the member states as well, in order to have a more streamlined communication, more that will assist everybody on creating a better trust scheme in Europe. The TL Manager presentation that my colleague Xavier is going to present you in a while is part of the brand new platform that we have built the last year, the E-Utra services dashboard, which comes with a lot more other features on top of the TL Manager that we are going to see today. Thank you very much for attending. I don't want to take a lot more time from the floor. I think it's a lot more fruitful to have Xavier showing you how you can start interacting with the European Commission and what you're going to use as a tool, actually, for publishing or notifying your list to us. And nevertheless, we're going to have a Q&A session at the end of this session in order to capture your first feedback. But of course, follow-up surveys are going to be circulated. So thank you very much for being here Friday morning. Xavier, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Tolis. I hope you all hear me. So I would like also to thank you everyone for coming here today. I think we have 29 participants and there is 21 countries represented today. So it's very, very nice to have you today. And so, yeah, we are very glad to show you this new version of the TL Manager that I hope you are using right now, and get your early feedback on it. So, yeah, I suggest that we start with the events. So maybe just for the agenda. So we'll begin with a short introduction on the CEF eSignature events. We will also introduce the EU Trust Services dashboard and introduce the new version of the TL Manager that will be integrated, that is in fact integrated inside within the EU Trust Services dashboard. I will also show you a demonstration of this new TL Manager. Then you will be able to test the tool, so we can get your feedback just after the meeting. And we will end with the next step. So all the improvement that will be integrated in the EU Trust Service dashboard, and we will have some discussion and question and answer session. So let's start with the events that has been provided by CEF eSignature. So here you are in better position to know that, but the trusted list scheme operators, so the target of today's meeting, the TLSOs, are managing the trusted list of each member state. So in fact, the trusted list framework of each member state. And so CEF eSignature building block provides to this community, the TLSO community, a continuous effort and training in an effort to reduce conformance errors in the trusted list. But they also provide some other events for the Eids notifiers and the user of DSS. So in fact, yesterday, there was the DSS webinar for the advanced user. So that was a presentation of the advanced feature of the DSS library, Java library, as well as the best practices when using DSS. So there was this meeting yesterday. Today is the TLSO workshop on the new TM manager. So it's in fact, the presentation of the TM manager that will be available from the E-Utra service dashboard. And in fact, that is already available now in production, in the production environment. So you will be able to try it just after the meeting on the production. Today, we will try it on the acceptance environment. So this way you can do some notification and so on. It won't be reflected in the LOTL or in the list of trusted list or in the production system. Then there will be a workshop for the Eids notifiers on the 8th of July. It's a training that is for all the Eids notifiers. So it's the notifiers of the conformity assessment bodies, the notifiers of the qualified electronic signature creation devices, the alternative processes for the certification of the QSCD and so on. Then in September or October, there will be the TLSO training. So as usual, a training for the TLSO community about some practices of business and administrative use cases when editing the trust list. And this time it will be great because this training will happen on the new version of the TM manager, the version that you will see today. Yep. Then in October, there will also be the TL quality sprint. So there was already some TL quality sprint that happened this year and last year. So it's a campaign to reduce all types of non-conformance in some trusted list through individual calls with in particular Jean-Emmanuel. And so the last one for this year, it's in December, there will be another DSS training for which the agenda has to be defined because there were already some training on DSS. And so this time we try to cover some other topics on it. There were also some marketing campaigns that are a big part of the eSignature's effort to create awareness and interest in the trust services. So last year in August, there was a presentation for the health care sector about eSignature, and in December there was the higher education institutions webinar. So that's all for the events. So maybe now we can go to the next slide. I will briefly introduce the version 1.0 of the E-Utra service dashboard. So in fact, the version that has been released at the beginning of the year. This first version include, of course, a num page, but also a discover page. That is kind of an FAQ on the portal. So each information that is included in the portal are introduced in this discover page. And there is also some FAQ on the Eids Trust Services Framework. We'll cover this page in a few minutes. There is also the trusted list browser, so which you already know. So we migrated the trusted browser from the previous website, the previous location within the E-Utra Services dashboard, because the purpose of this E-Utra Services dashboard is really to gather all the CEF e-signature tools inside a single portal, single dashboard, so that each user of e-signature can have the information in a single place and not on different location. And so this is to promote the safe signature, so the electronic signature and boost awareness. Then there is a new tool that has been released, which is named the notification tool. It has three objectives. First, to propose a user-friendly and filtered browsing of the information related to Eids Trust Services. We'll cover that in a minute during the demonstration. So it includes the list of the conformity assessment bodies, the Eids conformity assessment bodies, also the qualified electronic signature creation devices, the designated bodies for the certification of these devices, and so on. We'll see that in a minute. And so all this list can be browsed, in fact, are notified by the member state with formal notification, a formal notification process with structured forms comparatively to the previous process that was email based. And after notification, the content of this notification is first verified by the subject matter experts of the European Commission, and then published by an European Commission official. And then this, after publication, the information that has been notified can be browsed in the E-Utra services dashboard. There is also the e-signature validation test cases. So this one has also been migrated within the E-Utra services dashboard. So it's typically the test cases for the e-signature solutions implementers to test qualification of electronic signature and electronic seals. So in fact, this tool provides different test cases, some advanced electronic signature, some qualified electronic signature, some also with the fake trusted list and the fake list of trusted list in order for the e-signature solutions implementers to test their solution and to test if they provide the correct result. So if the signature is advanced or qualified, and so on. There is also the tail quality indicators. In fact, this tool is internal to the European Commission, just to measure the evolution and the quality of the trusted list. Then all this statistic and the evolution can be used for presentation, for example, for the TLSO trainings. And finally, there is the centralized admin space where all the user access are managed in a single place, and not as before, where each user access rights were managed on each tool separately. So this is for the version 1.0 that has been released beginning of the year. But today we will cover the version 1.1 of the E-Utra services dashboard, which includes the new version of the TM manager. So this tool, it's a tool for the TLSOs to edit, sign, generate, and notify changes relating to the management of their trusted list. So for example, where the trusted list is published, or with which signing certificates the trusted list is signed. And so as part of the continuous effort to collaborate with member states and maintain trusted list quality, this new version of the TM manager offers a My TLSO space. So it's really a space dedicated for each national TLSOs that gather in a single page all the information that are relevant for the TLSO to manage the trustees framework, the national trustees framework, and so it helps the TLSOs to keep their national trustees framework up to date. Now the user interface, it's more business oriented to provide a better understanding of the trustee list edition. So in the previous TM manager, it was kind of a good looking and a user-friendly edition of the XML. Now we provide, in fact, the edition of the trustee list using some use cases. So it introduced the next point, which is the TL edition use cases. So previously we had to update each field of the trustee list independently. Now the new version of the TM manager provides a set of use cases. For example, if I want to withdraw a trust service, I click on I want to withdraw the trust service, and I only provide the sufficient information to update this trust list with this use case. And so we will see that in a minute, but now in a few clicks, you can update your trusted list without necessarily all the technical knowledge of the trusted standards and the regulation. Then we also improve the sharing of the draft trusted list for the TLSOs to better collaborate with co-workers and also with the support team when relevant. There is now the interface is much more responsive to enable the management of the trust list, for example, on mobile devices. So now it's really easy to even edit the trust list on your smartphone if relevant. So I think that now we can maybe proceed with the demonstration. So I will share my browser. Okay, perfect. So here I'm in the acceptance environment, but the some version is available on the production. But here we wanted to do this session on the acceptance environment, so you can do anything you want on the dashboard. It won't have any impact on the production environment and the production trusted list and the production list of trusted list and so on. So here it's the home page of the EU Trust Services dashboard. And in this home page, you can see here all the actions you can perform on the EU Trust Services dashboard. And you have more action when you are logged in the EU Trust Services dashboard using your EU login account. So here I have the action manage your trust list, because here in acceptance I'm TLSO but not in production. I can notify a change in the Eids list, so we will cover that in a minute. I can also manage the list of trusted list, monitor the trust list quality, and so on. Yeah. Then there is the Discover page, where the purpose of this page is really to introduce all the concepts that are in this portal. So in this FAQ, you should have some answer to the question you may have on the trusted list framework, the trust services framework. So I invite you to browse this FAQ when at any time. Then we have the browse trusted list. So as covered before, it's the trusted browser that has migrated from the previous location to now this EU Trust Service dashboard with all the different trusted lists and some search functions. So search by type of trust services, search by name, and search by assigned file. And there is also, again, the page on the statistics and also the API documentation for the developers. Then there is the new list, so the list that were previously published on the Futurium. Now they are accessible from the EU Trust Service dashboard with some filtered functions. So here is the compiled list of notified NABs, so the national accreditation bodies and the Eids accredited conformity assessment bodies. And so for each country, we can see which national, some information about the accreditation of the conformity assessment bodies for each country when relevant, and also the Eids conformity assessment bodies. We can also extract all this list in the XML format. There is also the list of qualified electronic signature and seal creation devices and secure signature creation devices benefiting from the transition measures set in the Eids regulation. Then the designated bodies for the certification of the SSCD and QSCD. And finally, the alternative processes as defined in the Article 30.3 and 39.2 of the Eids regulation. So all these lists, in fact, have been notified by the member state and then verified by the subject matter experts of the European Commission, and then eventually published by an EC official. If you want to notify any information, a change on the information that are displayed here, please don't hesitate to request your access. Then there is on the below the try menu item, there is the e-signature validation test cases. So that has been migrated. Here are all all the test cases with the fake list of trusted list and the fake trusted list, and also some signed file. And here you have all the expected results when you try to validate this signature that are included in the test cases. So here also there is plenty of test cases. There is also the user guide here. Then there is the notify menu entry. So only available for the notifiers of the Eids list that we covered here before. So all the list except all the information on the trusted list. So this kind of information are covered in the new TM manager that we will see in a minute. Here it's just for the list of national accreditation bodies, conformity assessment bodies, designated bodies, and so on. So only the information that are here. So yeah, again, if you require an access to notify this information, please don't hesitate to ask after the meeting. Then now we can begin with the TM manager. So now you will try it in a few minutes, yeah, in 30 minutes. There is now, when you are logging, the manage trusted list menu item. And so this is the my TLSO space. So here I put myself as a TLSO of Italy and Portugal, because here now we can, if relevant, you can manage multiple trusted lists if you have some agreements with another country. And let's take, for example, Portugal. Here, this my space as the TLSO of Portugal. So I have here information on my trusted list, such as the sequence number of the currently published trusted list. I have the issue date as specified in the trusted list, the next update date as specified in the trusted list, whether my signature is valid, indeterminate, or invalid, and also the availability status. So if the E-Utra services dashboard managed to download your trusted list. By clicking on this button, you also have some statistic and period when your trust list wasn't available. And here the statistic on the previous year. Okay, and so on the right, you have all the actions you can perform in the E-Utra services dashboard relating to the your trusted list. We'll cover this button in a few minutes. Secondly, you have all the notified information, in fact, all the information that has been notified to the European Commission. So here, all the EU login UID that are authorized to access the E-Utra services dashboard as the TLSO of Portugal. So here is my EU login. You have some information on the TLSO contact. So this is an optional information that can be notified for the European Commission only to contact the TLSO, such as the name, the phone number, the postal address, and also the email addresses to contact the TLSO. There is also the information published in the list of trust list. So here we better differentiate which information are included in the system, so that are included in the E-Utra service dashboard, in the database of the trusted dashboard, and here the information that are published in the list of trusted list. And in this case, it includes the scheme operator names, the trusted list location, so where the trusted list is published in the XML format and optionally in the PDF format, and also all the sign-in certificates, so all the certificates that are authorized to sign the trusted list. So here we just have a short, subject name with the expiration date here. And to get more information on the certificate, there is this button that display the issuer of the certificate as included in the certificate, the subject name, the serial number, when it has been issued, when it will expire, and also in the base 64 encoded format. You can also download the certificate directly by clicking on this button. And so here you have the file in .CEF format to browse it with Windows. Okay, so this is for the My TLSO space. So here it displays all the information that are relevant for the TLSOs. So in fact, the information on the trusted list and all the information that has been notified by the TLSO to the European Commission. And so now we can cover the different actions we can perform. So there is the access to my draft repositories to edit my trusted list. I can also browse all the published trusted list and the list of trusted list and directly browse the currently published trusted list. And about the notify information, I can notify a change of information on TLSO. So if any of this information is wrong, I can click on it and notify it. We will cover that at the end of the demonstration. Because the biggest change in this new version of the TA Manager is the way we display the trusted list in a more business-oriented view, and the edition of the trusted list using test cases. Let's start with the draft repositories and the edition of the trusted list then. So here I have all my repositories. So what is a repository? In fact, it's a set. It's like a folder that contains all the draft trusted lists. So all the trusted lists that are currently in edition and that are not published yet. So here I have one repository, which is the TLSO Workshop testing session, with the ID, the number of drafts in it, and all the actions I can perform on this repository. Here I will create a new one. My new repository, for example. Okay, the repository has been saved. And let's see which action I can do on this repository. I can edit the name, of course. I can delete it if I want, but the greatest feature here is to share the access to this repository. So here, as instance, I can share my repository with Mr. Apladas. And so here is EU-login UID. I can add it. So now, when I click on save, the list will now have access to the repository. And I can remove access after by clicking on the trash button. Okay. So after, when you click on the repository, you can see below all the drafts that are stored in this repository. So let's start with a new one. So as I'm the TLSO of Portugal during this session, I will here select my country, Portugal. I can create a draft from the currently published trusted list. So it will take the current published Portuguese trusted list to create a draft, but I can also import an XML from my computer. So here, let's create a draft from the currently published trusted list. It takes a little bit of time because here we compute all the check on it. So the previous check as before. And here we have the country, the name of the draft that can be edited as well. And then here we improved a bit the user interface. And in particular, here we split the information in 4 categories. So first, the information on the signature. Here it is not signed because I just created the draft, but when I will sign it, it will here indicate who signed it, when, with which digest algorithm, and with which encryption algorithm, sorry. Then we have the information about the TLSO and the trusted list. And here at first, we only display the information that is more likely to be updated. So as instance, the sequence number, the issue date, and the next update date. So this is the three information that are always updated each time a trust list is published. And here you can see there is already some changes because when you create a draft, it automatically increment the sequence number compared to the trust list that is currently published. For the issue date, it's set to today's date. So in fact, here just 2 minutes ago when I created the draft, and for the next update date, it's set it to 6 months in 6 months. Then there is the scheme operator names, the postal address of the TLSO, the electronic address of the TLSO, the information URI to get more information, and the distribution points, so some alternative location for the publication of the trust list. So these are the information that is more likely to be updated, but I can anyway see the advanced information, the information that usually don't change because these information are, in fact, the value for these fields are defined in the regulation or in the trust list standards, the ETSI TS 612 the standard 119612 version 2.1.1. And so here there is the scheme name, the status determination approach, the scheme type, committee rules, policy, the scheme territory, and so on. But anyway, this information shouldn't change. Then the third category of information is the pointer to the list of trusted list. So here we also rename this category to make it more understandable. And here, so it's the pointer to the list of trusted list managed by the European Union. And again, we only see the information that is more likely to be updated. So the location of the list of trusted list, the scheme operator name, and the signing certificate. So the certificate that can sign the list of trusted list. And again, we have here this C icon where I can see more information on the certificate. In fact, each time there is a certificate, we have such information with the download button. Again, I can see the advanced information, but that shouldn't be changed, such as the TL type and the community roles. So the URI to the community role. And then the last one, in fact, the most interesting one, is the list of trust service providers. So again, we have two categories of information. The trust service providers with at least one granted or recognized at national level trust service. And the second category is the trust service provider without any granted or recognized at national level trust services. So in fact, where all the trust services are withdrawn or deprecated at national level. So about this first category, I therefore see all the TSP with here some indication on which type of trust services they provide, and here also some information about how many granted or recognized at national level trust services there are for this trust service provider. And so same here, and we can see that there is 0 granted or recognized national level trust services for these three trust service providers. There is also this checkbox to see more in details at this level all the trust services for the TSP. So here we have more indication on which trust services are withdrawn and what are the types of trust services for each of the trust services. Yeah, just to show you a bit how it looks like. And so in fact, it's kind of the same look and feel as for the trusted list browser here. Okay, so let's take now a TSP. So I click on it. Now I'm on the TSP view. I have here the name of the TSP with here the information for the TSP, such as the name, the train name, postal address, electronic address, information URI, and so on. And again, the information on the trust services. And now let's take this service, which is granted. And let's see what information is displayed for a trust service. So here first, the name of the trust service, the type of trust service, the starting date and time here. So when, at which date all the information here are valid, in fact. The service name, the current status, which is granted here. The service type, here is the issuance of qualified certificates with the additional service information extension for electronic signature. So then, based on these two information, we know that this service is the issuance of qualified certificates for electronic signature. There is also the qualification extensions. So here, just like an overview of which qualification extensions are included in the service. To have more information on it, I can click here. So there is here only one extension with one element, and here all the qualifiers and the criteria. So so if this criteria is fulfilled for a given certificate, this certificate will have these qualifiers there. And there is also here the expired certification revocation date. And here there is the service history. So all the history about this information that is displayed here. And so we have when this information applied. So here, this history was from the 25th of June since the 1st of July of the year after. And here, all the changes from this history to this current status. So here we can see directly that we updated the qualification extension, the digital identity, the current status, and the additional service information. Then we have the information on the digital identity. So in fact, how we identified the trust service. So here, for the issuance of qualified certificate, we identified this this service with the digital certificate and other information when relevant. So here I have the short name of the subject name with the issuance date and the expiration date. And again, there is this button to see more information on the certificate and download it. There are also the other information, such as the supply point, the scheme definition URIs, and the TSP definition URIs. So that's it for the display of the trusted list. Now we can cover how the trust list can be edited. So there is, for each view, there is this edit button. So here, the edit button is for the trust service. So it's all the TL edition use cases for this trust service. Oh, sorry. And so when I click on edit, I can select which action I can perform. And so this list is different following a service or another. Here for the issuance of qualified certificate, there is a lot of actions that are not available, for example, for the provision of timestamp, such as the qualification extension is only available for the type of service issuance of qualified certificates. Same as for the certificate and revocation info. And so let's take the most easy, if I may say, the most easy use case. But first, I would like to show you how it worked on the previous TM manager. So this was the previous TM manager, and here I am in the same trusted list. So let's try to withdraw the service I'm showing. So it is this service. What should I do to withdraw the service starting of tomorrow? I have first to edit the history, create an entry in the history. Here I don't have to change the information because it's the information that are currently for the current status of the trust service. Okay, so now I have an history. Now I can change the current status. The current status is no more granted, but I have to select withdrawn. And it's starting off tomorrow. So I will select 21, June, and 26. Okay. And so now I can edit it. And now the service is withdrawn starting off tomorrow and before it was granted. So this was the steps to do to edit the status of the service. Now what I can do is to withdraw or make deprecated at national level the trust service. So this is one of the use cases, the trust list use case. I only have to select a date. Either I can select the current starting date and time, but here it's not correct because no instance will be created in the service history, and that's not the date I want to set. I want to set another date and time to create a new service history, and so here I select tomorrow, the same time. I click now on validate. I wait a bit in order to compute the change and the checks. So now my service is updated. I can see now that I have a new service history where I change the current status only. The service is withdrawn starting off tomorrow at the same time, and the status is now withdrawn. So in fact, it only took me 2 clicks to update this trust service, and it doesn't require anymore some technical knowledge of the trusted list. It's much more easy, and understand the trusted edition is now much more understandable. And so there is plenty of other use cases, so such as the update of the service name. So here, either I can like overwrite the current instance because this change will be active starting off tomorrow. So I will select this one to not create another service history, and I can add a new name. Take my name. Okay, validate. So again, wait a bit to compute the change and the different checks. And so now we also see that comparing to the history, I also change the names. So my name is now here. And what is really great also is here I can see the different edition use cases I just performed. So here I can see for this trust service provider and this trust service, particular this trust service, I update the service name at this date. And I can click on the eye to see more information on the changes. So here I inserted a new name, so I have a new value and no previous value because I didn't delete anything. And I can roll back this change. So if I made a mistake, I just click here. Are you sure to undo the previous change? Yes, sure. I wait a bit to roll back this change. And so now we can see that the name didn't change. Here we don't see the change in the history either. And I have only one change left. So I think we won't go into all the use cases. We will be able to try these use cases in a short moment. I would like just to show you the takeover of the service by another TSP. So here again, I can select the date. Let's say that it will be taken over starting of tomorrow. I select the country in which which TSP will take over this trust service. So here, let's take as example Luxembourg. And so it displays here more information. So here I can provide more information on the taken over by moreinformation.com, for example, and the TSP name that is taken over by this trust service. Take the language, and here it loaded all the trust service providers in the Luxembourgish trusted list. So there is these three trust service provider. I can select this one as example, and the scheme operator names. It's illness, and I can also put it in French. And so here again, I only provided the information required to perform this use case. I don't require any more technical knowledge or so on. I just provide the information that are needed. So I validate. Again, it computes the changes and the checks. And now, how is this information displayed? Is here with this kind of warning icon. This service is taken over by the TSP name with the country code there, and more information can be found at the URL I just provided. And on clicking on the eye, I see more information on the taken over by extension. And also, if I go back to the TSP, I see now a new category of information. One service is being taken over by the TSP name, and here I have the information on the trust service. If another service is taken over by another TSP, I would have a new line here. So we just covered the trust list use cases for a trust service. Now there is also some addition use cases for the TSP. Here I'm in the TSP view. I can click on edit. Here I can either edit the information on trust service provider. So typically I just edit the information. It doesn't require any history or anything. It's just the update of the value for each of the fields. But I can also add a new trust service, and this use case is really great because now it's a wizard in which first I select the type of trust service. Is it a qualified trust service type as defined in the trust list standard? Is it a non-qualified trust service, or is it even a trust service that is not defined in the Eids regulation but nationally defined? Depending on what I select here, it will display one or another information. So here for a qualified trust service type, I select here the type of trust service. So these are the trust service as defined in the trust list standard. So there is the issuance of qualified certificate, certificate value, validity status services, and so on. Here the preservation, the validation. And so here I just selected the issuance of qualified certificates, and I can select the relevant extension, the additional service information extensions. So the information about the digital identity, is it a root CA QC, so a certificate in the digital identity identifies a root CA, and so on. The subtype of service, is it the issuance of qualified certificates for electronic signature? Is it for electronic seals? Is it for website authentication? I can select one under. Here the service name. My new service, for example. When the service will start, select tomorrow. And then I have to provide the digital identity of the service. So as mentioned before, the service here for the issuance of qualified certificate is identified by a digital certificate. So here, you see here that there is nothing specified for these two fields, and I cannot edit it. I will show you now why. Let's select the file. Let's select my my certificate for my the certificate I use to sign documents. So here it is the short name of the certificate. Again, I can see more information on the certificate there, and the subject name and the subject key identifier has been automatically updated. And if I add another certificate, a completely different certificate, such as this one, we'll see here an error because the subject name and the subject key identifier doesn't match, and it must match. And in fact, here the two field has been updated as well with the last certificate I just entered. So here I made a mistake. In fact, I didn't want to add the certificate, so I can remove it. And again, the subject name and the subject key identifier has been updated as well. So this is for the creation of the service for the qualified certificate. I can even validate it. So here is my new service, and we can see it is for issuance of qualified certificate for electronic signature. And so here it's QCert for eSig. And again, I can edit other information via the use case. And I can, of course, also roll back this addition of new trust service. A last thing about this wizard is that, so here I can select the type, but depending on which type of service I select, the content here, the information I must provide will be different. So let's take, for example, a non-PKI based service. Here, I only have to provide the service name when it starts and some other information, because it is not PKI based. I won't provide any digital certificate here. So, in fact, depending on the service you select, here the wizard will adapt. Then about the editions, I can also edit the list of trust service providers. So here I can add a new trust service provider, as we should never delete a trust service provider from the, at least remove a trust service provider from the trusted list. There is also an edition of the pointer of the LOTL. So if there is like a new private LOTL and we have to update the signing certificate, or if the LOTL change of location, I can click on edit, update the pointer, and here I can edit the information. And there is also, if I remove some certificate, there is again this this magic wand to load all the certificates as specified in the list of trusted list. So here are the certificates back. Then there is also some edition use cases on the information about the TLSO and the TL. Here there is two edition use cases. Either update the information on the specific trust list, the publication of the trust list. So the three information that are always updated after for a new trustee list. So the sequence number, the issue date, and the next update date. Here, if I select like 30 of June, it will also select 30 of December. So it will always set the next update to 6 months after, but I can set another date, of course. it won't change the issue date here. Okay, and last one, I can update the non-advanced information on the TSO and the TL. So the information that is more likely to be updated, I can change it here. And then the last.
Good.
The last thing is the signature of the trust list. So here, I was just checking if Nextview was running, but I can here sign the trustee list. It will, as in the previous TM manager, open Nextview. So here you don't see it, but the same process as before. So I select my certificate. And so here, I'm trying to sign my trustee list with a certificate that is not in the list of trustee list for the Portuguese trustee list. So it says you are attempting to sign a trustee list with a non-trusted certificate. And so these are the 4 certificates that can be used to sign the trustee list. And are you sure to sign the trustee list with this certificate? The signature reasons won't be valid. I can select yes or no. If I select yes, it is signing the trustee list. Up. I just entered my PIN code. Now it's signing. And so now the trustee list is signed, but of course with the wrong certificate as displayed in this check. The last thing I can do is to disable the checks. So for example, if the use case is taking too much time to compute the check after use case, you can disable here the checks. And so then each time you will perform a use case, it will go very fast, and you can enable the check afterwards. You can export the trustee list in XML for the publication, export in PDF as before for the publication of the PDF format, and you can also see the status report. So all the new errors, the changes from the currently published trustee list. Okay, so that's it for the edition of trustee list. So I can go back here. So I just updated my trustee list that was stored in this repository. The signature is indeterminate and the check status is invalid. But let's go back to my TLSO space. I can browse all the published trustee lists. So here now the list of trustee lists is there because it's not considered as a trustee list. Some information on the list of trustees there. The last time we checked for new trustee list. So in fact, we try to download a new trustee list each 10 minutes. So here it's 3 minutes ago. And here there is all the trustee list with the contact address as notified. So in fact, it's pretty much the same screen as in the previous TM manager, except that there is now also some flags. So I can here select my trustee list. And I see the same interface, except that I cannot edit anything. Then back to my TLSO space. So browse your trustee list. It will in fact redirect me to the screen you just seen. And the last thing I can do is to notify. Sorry, in fact, I want it to take Portugal. I want to notify a change of information. So for any reason, one of the information that are displayed here are no more correct. So I can click on it. And again, the information is split in 2 categories: the optional information, so the changes that are not published in the list of trustee list and are immediately effective after the submission of the notification. So because this information is stored in the E-Utra services dashboard, and then the information that we retrieved from the list of trustee list. So this one. So of course, the change will only be effective once the list of trustee list will be published. And so a new trusted list is published by the European Commission 8 days after the submission of the notification at the latest. So here, let's edit some information. For example, I can remove some email addresses. I can here change the name. Here I can also update here some location up, and I can remove some certificates. Submission date, I can change it if I want the European Commission to publish not a trusted list today, but tomorrow. Okay, I validate. It will compute all the check and the changes. So here, just below the notification, we can see the changes and measures to be taken by the TLSO. So here, about the TLSO contact, it will be effective on the notification submission because, as I mentioned before, it's just it's information that are stored in the E-Utra service dashboard. Then about the scheme operator name here, no measures. But here I changed the location of my trust list, so it says until the date of the effect, and starting from the date of submission, we have to ensure that the trust list is both accessible from the previous and the new location. And here it says that I shouldn't sign my trust list with the certificate I just removed. Here there is also the conformance check with the different references. So here there must be at least 2 signed certificates that are not expired. So I think I removed one, and so all the two of the 3 are expired except this one. So there is it's not compliant with the CID, and because I should have at least 2 signed certificates that are not expired, and so on. So each time there is the reference here. Then I should sign my notification, but here, for the sake of testing, I will directly submit it because I don't have the signed certificate to sign it. It should be one of these certificates. So let's submit it. Are you sure to submit the notification? It will result in a change of the LOTL and so on. Okay. Okay, the notification has been sent to the commission. A copy of the notification has been sent by email. Here, we won't receive any email on this environment to not spam you, in fact. And now, a new feature is now I can see that my notification is pending for LOTL publication. It's this one. So as long as a new LOTL is not published with this information, I will have here the notification with an hyperlink. And if I click on it, I can see which information I notified with, again, the changes and measures to be taken in case I forgot it. And again, the conformance check. So here we can see, we don't see anymore the TLSO contact email addresses because it has been already taken it has been already updated in the system. Okay, so the last thing I would like to show you is how the LOTL is displayed. So if I click on see all the published trusted list and I want to see the list of trusted list, I can browse it. And here again, we have information on the signature. We have information on the LOTL and the LOTL-SO. There is again the pointer to the list of trusted list as for the trusted list, but what is new is now we clearly see the pointer to the other TSLs with each country. So in fact, in the XML, when there is a PDF and an XML, it's 2 different entries. Here we merge these 2 entries by country. So for example, for Bulgaria, there is the trust list in XML in PDF. We can see it in a single entry. And we again see only the information that are most likely to be updated. And here we can see the advanced information. So if you would like to see in the trusted list what are the information that you have notified, but you can find it back on your TLSO space, you can also browse the LOTL by country, which is which is pretty great. I think we covered everything here. We can begin with the demonstration. There is a question on the chat.
So I'm going just to take the questions that are still in. So the last one was there is no export the SHA-2 option for the signature. Yes.
Sorry, I just opened the chat. I'm trying to find out to do it. Okay, so the question. There is no export in the .SHA-2 option. Indeed, seems that for this one we'll have to go to the previous TMAG again. We will note it to be included. Thank you for the remark.
Xavier, there is one more question from Greece.
Yep.
A remark actually from Greece, because they report that the new TL manager displays a different status, 100% availability compared to the old TL manager.
Yeah, in fact, we improved a bit the availability. In fact, we updated. So about the availability, just here before there was some charts, and in fact, this chart wasn't really useful.
Can we see your screen, Xavier? We don't see your screen.
Yeah. To availabilities. So we updated a little bit. In fact, we just removed the pie chart, and we provide now just some here percentage, because we didn't find it relevant anymore to display the pie chart, because when the trust list is not available, it's sometimes just 1%, and so in fact in the chart it was just a piece of the chart that has a different color. So we decided to show the availability like this, but and here it's a table. But if you would like the pie chart again, please feel free to ask for this improvement in the survey. Thank you.
And Xavier, I think the question, the remark is related to the quality of the data, because it's mentioned, perhaps you can intervene if I'm mistaken, that in the existing TL manager that we had been using for years, the availability number is different from what we see today in this tool.
Yeah, in fact.
Yeah, it's a bit different. It's, I think, from 99.9%, now it shows 100%. So the difference is not that much, but I just wanted to indicate that I see a difference there. And yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. In fact, here are the statistics computed since the deployment of the tool. So since 1 week or 2 here in the acceptance environment. So in fact, for this availability, to have the statistic on the availability before this week or the week before, you can still use the previous TMAG that will in fact remain available. So here, in fact, we only have the availability period since the deployment of this new version, so in production since yesterday.
Mm-hmm. But nevertheless, yeah, to be confirmed by you, we are going to migrate the data, the historical data of the other team manager. Is this correct?
It's not planned yet, but we can, of course, do it, yes.
Let's please do so.
Yeah, perfect. Certain.
Thank you.
Okay, I had another question because I logged in the dashboard and tried to check a few things in the new TL manager. And when I go to the, sorry, let me find it, to the published trusted lists, and I press on any country, in the page that it opens, it shows a warning about the sequence number and the issue date, which is not, it didn't happen to you. I don't know why, but when I log in the TL manager that is now in the dashboard and do that, it complains, and I think this shouldn't happen because I'm just viewing a published TSL. Okay, in our case, it also complains about the signature, although in the previous page, it shows that it is valid. But you also see that it complains just below the signature about the sequence number and the issue date, and this happens. Yeah, this is the problem with the ECDSA. Do you remember we had a discussion about this?
Yeah. So in fact, about this check on the signature, so it's just the same from the one version to another. And for this one, in fact, it's just an information. So it's not an information on the acceptance, but it's indeed an information on the production. But it will be fixed as soon as there is a new trust list that is published. It's here because again, it has been just deployed. And so for this check to be removed, we need a new publication of the trust list. But of course, there is no error at all. It's just that the dashboard needs a new publication to just know that there is a new version. It will compare the newly published trust list with the previous one and detect that, of course, the sequence number has been incremented. But you can disregard this check at this moment, and for the next publication of the trust list, this check won't appear anymore.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you to you for your remark. And there was a last question.
It was the same.
Okay.
That was at 10:40. Okay,
perfect. So here I suggest that that we do some you perform some free testing during like 15 minutes. So then we can again discuss about the feedback you would have, and then you will be able to provide us some early feedback on the tool and which improvement you would like to see. And then we will close the meeting with the next improvements that are planned for the E-Utra services dashboard. So I propose that we discussed again at 11:35 at the latest. But of course, if you have any other question during your free testing, we'll be happy to discuss it. So thank you. Indeed, the authentication to the E-Utra services dashboard requires a two-factor authentication. So I will maybe I can show you how to configure your account to enable this two-factor authentication. Let me just a moment to. So here I just entered the URL provided in the chat. And so if you are not yet logging, you should provide your account, either your email address or your login UID and the password. Then you should have this page. And if you click here, you can click on my account, and then you can here, I think it's manage your phone number. Of if you don't have it, I think you can change your mobile phone on the my account details. So in fact, you have to provide your number, your phone number, just to receive the OTP via SMS. If you don't find how to do it again after here, maybe we can provide you with some additional support after the meeting via the service desk, the eSignature service desk. So yeah, I hope that you will find out how to configure this two-factor authentication. Or we can even schedule a call to do it together if needed. We will shortly proceed with the next step.
Xavier,
yeah.
Can you please click on the link that I sent you? It's not the cast that you just sent, it's a cast/mobile.
Okay.
And please present this one. And actually, this is the way to link your mobile number to your E-Login account. And it is advisable also to download the E-Login mobile application to your mobile phones in order to be able to authenticate even with your fingerprint. But if you go now to this link.
Yeah, I will share my screen. So here, I just opened the link shared by Tolis. And so here, I already set my pin.
Sir.
Yeah.
No, sorry.
Okay, no problem. So here I already set my E-Login account via the application on my smartphone, so I can only change the E-Login app. But I think for people that didn't yet configure the application on the smartphone, they should have something else here. So there is at least two ways to log into the E-Utra services dashboard, either by providing the mobile phone number. So if you provide your mobile phone number, you will receive an OTP by SMS. And you can also connect using the E-Login application. And then here you simply have to provide your PIN code on your smartphone, and you'll be connected just afterwards. So there is multiple ways to log in. We will soon proceed with the next steps. So except if there is any question now, I will stop sharing my screen, and maybe Sophia, you can share the presentation. So I don't see any question yet on the chat. I think we will cover the next steps yet. And yeah, now it's possible to create an empty trust list. We have new TLSOs, and I would like to build them as TL from scratch. So yeah, it's possible to create an empty trusted list. But then what we suggest is to open a text editor and remove all the entries, either the text editor or maybe via the previous TM manager, who can delete all the trust service provider one by one and clean all the values. Because here in the new TM manager, we don't allow to delete trust service providers, because it shouldn't be, it's not allowed. But yes, and if you want, we can even send you an empty draft trusted list for Poland if you want. If you want it, just please tell us, and we will send you this empty trusted list. Okay, perfect. And if you need any assistance, please don't hesitate to get back to us via the service desk, maybe. So about, I see another question. Yeah, about the E-Login UIDs that are in the notified information. So here in the acceptance environment, in fact, we manually add the user that registered to the session. But what we'll do just after the meeting, we will add all the also in the production. Okay, so then all the E-Login that are in acceptance are the ones that registered to the session. So if this person shouldn't have access to the my TLSO space as the TLSO from Poland, you can remove it, but it should be someone that registered to the session. And for your information, after the session, we will also add all the previous users from the TM manager to this E-Utra services dashboard. Here we only added the person who registered it to the session. So yeah, that's normal. We will cover the next step now. I was just answering the question from the chat. So for the next step, maybe Sophia, if you could please go to the next slide. So here is just a summary of the next step for the E-Utra services dashboard. So first of all, the new TM manager is now also available on the production environment. So we provided here the link is the same as the previous one, and it's the same as for the acceptance environment, except that there is no the acceptance. And for your information, the legacy TM manager, so the one currently located in the WebGate location, will remain available, but no more TLSO notification can be submitted. The European Commission will only accept notification from the new dashboard, except if you maybe encounter some blocking issues. Then this year we will also propose to export all the Eids list in the PDF format. So we just browsed at the beginning of this session the list of national accreditation bodies, so the NAB, the conformity assessment bodies, so the CAB, and so on. Currently, it's available in the XML format, but it will soon be downloadable in a human readable format, so in PDF, together with the current export in XML format. We will also support in the E-Utra service dashboard the list of the supervisory body that are currently still published in the Futurium. So a member state will be able to notify this information, and an EC official will publish this information in the E-Utra service dashboard for any end user to browse it. There are also some discussions to support the article 17.6 and 17.7 of Eids. So the notification and the publication of the supervisory body's main activities, report, and the TSP summary of breach in the E-Utra service dashboard. It may not be publicly available, but just shared to the member state representatives. There will be also a revamp of the pilot for the international compatibility of trust services. So currently it's on a different interface with a different look and feel. And so now we'll integrate this pilot in the E-Utra service dashboard to get the same look and feel and make it more available. And finally, we'll also make some improvements on the TM manager version you just seen. So there will be new helpers. There will also be a context-based support. So a TLSO would be able to request support on a specific error or a specific change. So for example, if you don't know why given conformance check appeared, you can request support for this specific error, and so there will be a request that is context-based. The support will directly see which error you are talking about, and in line with this new feature, we'll also improve the TL checks, the information provided for the checks, with some description on how to solve this error, how much time it will require, or even if it's not possible to solve this error, it will be indicated. So this kind of improvements will be integrated, and as well as any improvements you will suggest in the feedback form that will be sent to you after the meeting. I see that there is a question in the chat. I still get the same error with the status report. So in this new version of, to answer the question from Mr. Nakielski, we again integrate the TL conformance checker. If there are any error in the TL conformance checker, we are sorry about it, and we will note any of wrong computation, and we'll ask for updates. I think for this error, I think you maybe already discussed with Jean-Emmanuel about this. So maybe Jean-Emmanuel, if you can provide some feedback about this, the floor is yours.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Jean-Emmanuel speaking here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. So, like Xavier said, actually, the new TL conformance checker has been integrated in the TL manager, but unfortunately, there remains some configuration. I believe we discussed it with Xavier. For now, the old error still appear, but for instance, cryptographic error should be resolved. This error about the taken over by, I believe, information should disappear in the next update of the Trusted List Manager. Okay, no, so that is transition issue indeed. So let me check. So this has been requested to the Trusted List Conformance Checker implementer to resolve, and I believe it should have been resolved. So let me check just one moment.
Just to answer the other question about which version of the Eids standard we support, it's still the same version. So I will just share my screen just to show you the version. So it's the same version as specified in the Commission Implementing Decision 2015-1505. So here we have the version is the CTS, this one, CTS 119612 version .1.1. So it's this one. This version of the standard, it didn't change since last version. It's still this version of the standard that is mandated by the Commission implementing decision. About the TLCC, maybe we can get back to you after investigations. Here, except if there is any other comment, I think we can close soon the meeting. So I would like to thank you, all of you, again for coming here today. It was really great to have so much participant and so much countries. We hope that you liked this new version of the tool, and we are very impatient to see your feedback and try to improve the tool. Just improve the tool and comply with your needs, and yeah, try to improve together the TOSIS framework. So
thank you, Xavier. Just before you leave, Tom, could you share the link of Slido in chat?
Yep, I can do. So good morning still for 7 more minutes, everyone. We just want to get your feedback and ideas on different events and activities moving forward, or what some of your requirements might be regarding this new tool. And we thought we would get that feedback through Slido, which is just a little bit more elegant than the chat function here. So if you see in the chat, I've just shared the link to the Slido platform. It's a platform, for those of you who don't know it, where you can just quickly ask basic online polls. And here you can see the code as well for this specific meeting, which is hashtag 365475. And I'm going to share my screen as well, so you'll see the questions being asked, but you need to go proactively to this website to complete the questions. We've only got 4 questions, and we should be done in time for the end of the session. So let me just first, I'll just share my screen to make it easy. Okay, voila. And activate poll. Do you see my screen in the first question?
Yeah, we do.
Wonderful. So the first question is, what is your first impression, forgive the typo, of the new TLM manager and the new way of working? So this one, we'll give a little bit of time for this one, because you can type here your response. And Sophia, if you can keep track of the responses, that would be great.
Sorry, Axel Schmidt here from Germany. May I just add another question?
Yes, what I would propose is, if you share it in the chat, I should be able to.
No, I think it's a very, very easy question, because maybe I just missed something. But I just wanted to ask, from what time on is this new version of the TL Manager usable for real work? So is it supposed to be online now in the dashboard, and so we are supposed to use it from now on, or is this still delayed somehow? I can take this question. As we discussed, we would like to have the audience properly populated in our system, in order to avoid any misuse of this system, let's say, by unauthorized access. So the system is there. We need to contact you in order to receive the EU login accounts that should have access to the system. And of course, the ones that they had access previously in the previous TL Manager version normally should have access rights to the new one, to be confirmed with the team next week. And okay, of course, official communication will follow.
Okay, but for now, for example, today, tomorrow, we cannot use the tool. So authorization must be done before.
To be honest, I'm not quite sure about this. I don't know, Xavier, if you have more insight, whether we have already provisioned the accounts that we know from the previous TL Manager version.
No, we will do it just this afternoon.
Exactly.
We wanted to first show the tool to just the e-login that has been provided during the registration, but of course we will do as soon as possible. We will add all the e-login UID from the previous TM manager. We'll also add this one in the one in production. So you should soon have the access. And anyway, when you will receive the official communication, you can assume that everything is all the access has been granted as in the previous TM manager.
Okay, okay. But so far, until we get this communication sent from you, we can use the old version of the TM manager.
Yeah, and in fact, this old version will remain available because for specific needs, you may again need to use it, so it will remain available to edit your trust list.
Yeah, I just I think I read on one of your slides that notification functions are not available anymore for the old version of the TL manager, and I need to de-notify 2 of our TL signers from Germany, and yeah, that's why I'm wondering which version am I supposed to use for this.
Okay. In fact, we will next week we'll release like a kind of new version of the legacy TM manager to like disable the notify button. Maybe as long as this notify button is available, you can notify via the legacy TM manager. We publish a last list of trust list with the notification that has been made in the legacy TM manager. But then as soon as the button will be disabled, we will invite you to notify new information via the new E-Utra services dashboard.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your question. And please, if there is any other question, please don't hesitate to ask.
Of course.
Wonderful. Thanks, everyone. Okay, moving forward with the questions to wrap up the session. I took a screenshot, but I realize now I'll need to move between the two. So yeah, Sophia, if you can jot down the answers, that would be great. I'm going to move to the next question then, which is a bit quicker. It's just multiple choice. So it should appear now in your relevant, Slido pages. Are you interested in organizing an in-person meeting in Brussels in October, November, if the situation allows? Yes, no. Okay, I think we've had about the same number of respondents, so I'm going to move to the next question. So thank you very much for your feedback there. This is another one with an open text, so I'll leave it open for a moment longer. Okay, well done. We'll move to the next question in the interest of time. Are there additional activities you would like to see from us? So here, this is quite a broad question. So any ideas, anything you think might be useful? I'll leave this open for about a minute because I'm trespassing now on people's lunch breaks. Okay, and a final question. Obviously, you're always welcome. Wonderful. Maybe a quick word on what activities that are being planned under CEF in the near future. That obviously we're now at the bridge point between between two EU budgetary periods, and a lot of the work currently undertaken in our domain by the Connecting Europe facility will be conducted under the Digital Europe programme. But currently, the work programmes have not yet been published. So right now, we don't have information we can share publicly on how things will look moving forward, but this information will be published, obviously, as soon as the relevant work programs, etc., have been agreed, and these will be publicized to all the CEF stakeholders. So you'll find out more information on what is planned in the future very shortly, but we can't give a timetable right now because of the ongoing negotiations. So just a quick comment on that, maybe. Okay, brilliant. I'll move on to the last question, which I think touches what was mentioned by some colleagues. And the last question, is anybody interested in a further training on how to use this particular tool? I suspect the answer will be yes, once people have had time to acclimatize with it a bit. Okay, I think that seems a nice indicative. These are obviously just indicative for us to have an idea going forward. So thank you to everyone for providing your feedback. I don't know, Thomas, if you have any last comments before we wrap up this morning's session.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank all the team here in Digit that not only organized this event, but also developed this tool in collaboration with DigiConnect. We had a very nice collaboration spirit in order to try to create a new way of working and establish a new way of working. And all of us here in the European Commission, we are foreseeing that this is going to be a very nice development. And of course, we count on your support and collaboration in order to make this new way of working a successful way of working. And nevertheless, you have to be aware that all the time we have you in our minds. That's why we're asking all of these questions. We would like to grasp your feedback. We would like to serve your needs and try to see how we can make things better for everybody here. So in the coming days, as promised just earlier, we are going to circulate detailed instructions about when you can start using the new TL Manager. If we need some additional information from your side, from your member state about the EU login accounts that perhaps we don't have in the legacy TL Manager in order to become provisioned to the new one. We also took good note of your remarks about the things that you saw today. And perhaps it will be a good idea to circulate a user manual, a user guide on how to use these specific sections of the new TL Manager. But of course, you can at any time reach us in our functional mailbox in case you face any issues, any problems, something that you would like our assistance in order to start using the new tool. And in case it is still needed, we are going to have another session about the TL Manager, perhaps in a more advanced topics or in some solid use cases that we're going to collect from your side. Okay? In the meantime, I would like to thank everybody for being here. Have a good weekend. If we don't see you or we don't hear from you in the coming weeks or months, enjoy your summer holidays, and we'll be in touch. Thank you very, very much, everybody.
Thanks, Thomas. Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you and goodbye.